And I say this, and like I told you before, I think it's the hardest one I've ever had to do going into the playoffs. Hardest one ever. I really looked at it, and it just like I feel about as least confident about it. And it's usually I'm pretty like, hey, this is what I did. I'm happy with it, and we're gonna roll with it. Even with some of my wild card matchups, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm picking these on a Tuesday. I might change my mind on Friday. I'm not even sure. So that's where it's amazing, and I think that's why it's going to be an awesome playoffs here.
So I've gotten a peek of your bracket.
Yeah.
We see how this plays out, like ironically. I think almost.
We're very similar?
Very, very similar.
Okay.
But I'm like you, that as I was going through this, there's ones where I flip-flop on just all the time. The wild card winners. This is one where I had a feeling we'd be eye to eye, and it's an anything can happen, but we both like Jacksonville over the Bills.
I think Jacksonville's a more complete team.
That's my argument.
Right.
Josh Allen can make it to the Super Bowl, and I'd be like, well, yeah, it's Josh Allen.
Yeah, right.
But I love the Jacksonville roster.
I think so, too. And then I think, like we've talked about a lot, right, when Buffalo has to worry about a team that can do both, right, can do both. Wow, they can run it on us really well, and if we overcommit to the run, they can tear us up in the pass game too, or vice versa. We worry about stopping the pass, but they can tear us up in the run. That's what I don't love. And, as you said earlier in the show, I mean, Jacksonville's front's real. Jacksonville's front is real. They got 2 D tackles. They got some big, strong defense ends, and they got 2 of the better run-stopping linebackers in the sport in Aludicon and Devin Lloyd, my first-team All-Pro linebacker. And then they got a thumping safety in Antonio Johnson, who's very Derwin James-ish, and he helps out in the run game too, to why you said nobody runs on Jacksonville really. And that's kind of the reasons right there. Meathead Anthony Campanile from North Jersey, he ain't going to get bullied. That's just not the way it works, right? So, yeah, I favor Jacksonville there.
Maybe the toughest game on this side to really predict.
I think so.
The Chargers now at New England.
I know.
This is the one that I have changed 20 times. And I finally just settled into, okay, like I got to give New England a little credit here. They had a great season. Forget the schedule.
Right.
They should find a way to get it done. But I've never felt great about picking them over the
This
Chargers.
is the one I've been talking about where I go, I hold judgment, because I could be on Sunday Night Football and everybody go, wait, he picked the Patriots in the bracket, and I might have 4 more days here to like kind of just digest it all, and I might change my mind. So just so you know out there. But I'm taking the Patriots as we sit here right now, but I have concerns. I mean, one, like we've talked about, I think this is a Chargers team that, one, is going to be fresh, didn't play last week. 2, is a little sick of we lose the playoff games, all of that. Justin Herbert's going to be motivated by that. Herbert's had probably his best year of his career. He's ready to take over. Can the Patriots pass rush really dominate the game like we've seen other teams do against the Chargers, right? I don't know about that. I don't know if Drake May is going to be able to find people open down the field all game long against this secondary, right? Their Chargers this is the first time the Patriots are in it. Thing like this, can their youngness and immaturity kind of show up, right? I think there's that possibility too. And then as we discussed, I mean, the Patriots have an all-time easy record. It's not just an easy schedule this year. It's one of the easiest schedules of all time. All time. They played what? They beat one playoff team this year, right? Am I right about that? Buffalo.
The Bills.
The Bills, the first time in Buffalo. It's the only playoff team they beat this year. I mean, teams that they beat that are above 500 is what? It's a short list of people.
I think 1.
So that's what you worry about a little bit. And so I'm taking the Patriots, but I do not feel terribly confident about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be – I'm even surprised the spread's 3.5.
Is it 3.5?
I thought it would be closer than that.
I can understand why you like the Chargers with Matthew Berry in their fantasy show.
Yeah, I like that spread.
Right.
I think the Chargers make this a close game. I think New England will find a way to win. The question is if they can keep it going beyond this. We'll get to that in a little bit. But – the Texans at the Steelers. I didn't struggle with this one. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think this is a buzzsaw for the Pittsburgh offense.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yes, there's a lot of things you could poke holes with the Texans offense, and they've had they're arguably the hottest team in football by the winning streak, but they've also had some moments like against the Raiders and the Colts. They're they're better than that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the Steelers' offense gets through in this game.
I'm with you. I didn't have to think very much about this. Right. The only thing you worry about, I think, in this one is just C.J. Stroud, don't hold the ball too long and don't get strip sacked. Right. But I do think they'll be able to throw the football. I think they're getting better at throwing the football. Their offense has been somewhat good and really close here lately. It's gotten better. And I think a little bit of like what you talk about the defense, as we've talked about, it's a Super Bowl defense. But, you know, did they fall asleep at the wheel a little bit the last few weeks? Because, like, hey, we're in the playoffs. Does it really matter, right? You know, you don't maybe play with the same type of intensity. You're going to see a Texans defense in this one that is going to go all out. They're pretty strong. So, yeah, I clearly like the Texans. I'm with you. That was one of the easier ones to pick right there.
So that takes us to the divisional round, and we had the same picks for these, so they'll line up the same.
Yeah.
We'd have the Texans traveling to Denver,
right,
as Denver has the bye week.
Right.
How do you view this game?
Well, and yeah, so we got the Texans traveling to Denver. We got the Jaguars traveling to Patriots, which is what I did not want. I don't really want to see Houston and Jacksonville in the divisional round. Because I also look at it and go, I think those two teams could go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Right? That's where I'm a little bit like, you know, so there's a part of me in this too where I go, wait, if the Chargers win as the 7th seed, then they would go to Denver.
Denver.
The Chargers would go to Denver, right? And then we don't have the Broncos and Texans playing, right? And we got a different matchup there. I think I said that whole thing wrong right there. I think I butchered that whole thing.
The Texans would be going to...
Yeah, exactly. The Texans then would be going to the Patriots.
That's exactly right.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Have I got that right?
I believe so.
I think so. Right. I think I got it right. Either way. Yes, I got it. But either way here, within this matchup, all right, we got Broncos at Texans, defensive showdown. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans here. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans over the Denver Broncos. I like Denver a lot. I guess I don't trust their offense, really, and I don't trust it in this matchup. And I really felt the first time they played that Houston was the better team on the field. That was the game C.J. Stroud got hurt early on with the concussion. And I remember thinking during that game, man, if C.J. Stroud played, they would have won this football game. And they hadn't won until like a 3rd and 18 Bo Nix scramble that got them into field goal position. You know me, I'm a believer in the Texans. I think they'll stay hot. And I think Denver with the week offs, you know, as we've seen too, sometimes that makes people fall asleep at the wheel and get a little cozy and comfy there.
This is the one that I thought we'd finally differ on.
Right.
And because I went with the same thing.
You did.
I don't love Denver's offense.
Right.
And I don't love them against Houston. I like Denver's defense, but I love Houston's defense.
Yes.
That's the difference to me right now, where I have the Texans going to the AFC Championship game over Denver.
Denver gets a little too aggressive on the defensive side of the ball for me too at times, right? And that's where it's I don't know if that's always I feel the best about that. I think they're for as talented as they are, I think they can be a hair too aggressive. And I think now that I finally figured out what the hell I was just trying to say there. Well, yeah. I was thinking is like, yeah, the Chargers win, they go to the Broncos.
Yes, because they're the 7th
And then we'd
seed.
have the Jaguars Texans in the divisional round. I don't want to see that.
Right.
Right? I really don't. Right? So there's a part of me, too, that I was like, did I pick the Patriots just because I don't want to see that in the divisional round? That's the point I was trying to get to as an idiot a few seconds ago.
Well, then our next game. Do you end up seeing that divisional matchup in the AFC Championship game, or do you think the Patriots beat Jacksonville?
I'm going to take Jacksonville.
So did I.
Yeah. So you got Texans Jags just like me.
Just like you.
Wow.
I know we are going to finally differ at some point here.
Okay.
But this side of the AFC bracket, we were eye to eye.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I look at it right now, and I just think those two teams are playing better than everybody else.
That's what it came down to me. It's nothing about how they are seated in the playoffs, but what they've looked like now for 6 weeks.
The most elite unit in the AFC is the Texans defense. There's no unit better in the AFC, either side of the ball, than the Houston Texans defense, right? So that's how I look at it. And then also in the AFC, I go, wait, I think the Jaguars have maybe the second best defense and definitely one of the best offenses. Right? So that's kind of how I viewed it, and I'm going to go with that. So, all right, we're going to pick this through here?
Yeah, we're going to finish the AFC side.
So you got Jags.
We have the same AFC Championship game.
We have the same AFC Championship game. You're taking the Jags.
I'm taking Jacksonville.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the Houston Texans.
I think the Swagwars, they got it.
I like it.
I'm buying into Mr. Duval.
Yeah.
But it's more really, like you said, about the steps the defense and the quarterback have taken.
Yeah, I get that. Like I get that.
Now,
right.
hopefully Trevor Lawrence doesn't melt at some point of this postseason, but I think Liam Cohen can game plan against
exactly
anybody.
right. And they got the weapons.
You got to be able to stop the run in the NFL playoffs.
Right.
So I have Jacksonville in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy. Listen, I certainly thought about putting them there too. Right? They're special. And like the point you brought up, Liam Cohen, they know how to play this defense a little bit. They did have a game this year where they showed they can move the ball, and they kind of cracked the code a little bit on them there. So that does scare me. But yeah, I'm with you in that. I like these AFC South teams. I like the Texans. You like the Jaguars. But I certainly could see the Jaguars doing it. And I'm also like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, sometimes I think I look at history and go, well, the last time the game was in San Francisco for the Super Bowl, the best defense in football was there, the Denver Broncos.
Right.
And this time around, it's the Houston Texans. I don't know. Maybe history repeats itself and it's Denver there again.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Right.
But I'm going to play it's the best defense gets there once again, and that is the Houston Texans for my money.
What feels so fragile to me picking Jacksonville in the Super Bowl is that they have to play Josh Allen this weekend. That's where I'm like, this could look really dumb really quick, but I'm going with it. All right, let's go to the NFC side. So we finally differed in the AFC Championship result. Chris has the Texans over the Jags. I have the Jags over the Texans. The NFC wild card.
Yeah.
Don't think we'll have a surprise here. The Rams at the Panthers.
I'm taking the Rams. I can't pick the Panthers. No. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. They haven't looked good in the last 2. They're going to the playoffs, losing like that. I feel like, yes, they were I know they got some bad calls last week in week 18 against the Bucks, but I thought they were clearly the lesser team on the field that day. Yeah, and I think the Rams, again, that veteran team that I don't think we can forget. Like I know we've said this a few times, but it was 30-14 with 6 minutes left in the game, and the whole country was going, well, the Rams are the best team in football. That's not even a question.
Number 1 seed.
They're the number 1 team. And then they got come back on, they lose, and then they play that dud game in Atlanta, and we all got thrown out of whack here, but I still think they're one of the best teams in the game.
So the next game is basically a pick'em. The Packers travel to Chicago. It's almost a pick'em, this game. It's a 1.5 point spread. Look at the money line. It's just take your pick. What did you think of this one?
I'm going to go Bears at home.
I did too, but I didn't feel like really great. This was kind of like the spread says, a coin flip.
Exactly. I think it is a coin flip. I think the thing that I just come away with is I don't trust a quarterback having to make a playoff start who hasn't played in 3 weeks. I think that's what bothered me with Jordan Love a little bit, right? So that's where I leaned with the Bears. And I do think Ben Johnson ripping the offense and the way they played last week will actually end up helping them this week to be on their game and maybe take a few chances and jumpstart them early on in the football game.
The final one is the Niners at Philadelphia. They're 4.5 point underdogs. Part of me really wanted to take the swing.
I'm with you.
But man, at this point of the NFL season, it is like hat on hat physicality. I just can't pick against the Eagles at home. That's the tiebreaker for me.
And if it was a healthy 49ers team, you go, okay,
they're
hat
not
on
even
hat.
Close to healthy.
Exactly. Hat on hat. They can go hat on hat with the Eagles, right? But now, like you talked about, we got the no middle linebacker in Bethune. That's another thing that hurts. I just don't think there's enough there on the 49ers roster. They're going to be able to coach and have a little success. There was definitely a thought of me that, like, wait, maybe they can stop the run and figure out how to slow down and stop this, kind of below average Philly offense. But I also think Vic Fangio and company will be able to slow down Shanahan and the 49ers offense. I'm going to roll with the Eagles.
All right, so that brings us to the divisional round, which will have the same matchups here. The Rams would travel to Seattle.
I know, which hurt me, too, because I was like, that should be an NFC Championship game matchup.
100%.
Right.
And then the Eagles would play at Chicago.
But if the Packers win that pick'em game, right, like you talked about against the Bears, it all changes to where the Seahawks will be hosting the Packers, and then we would have the Eagles hosting the Rams, right, which would be interesting. But we don't have that, but just give everybody a little context of what would happen there.
So how are you? Let's start with the Rams over Seattle.
Yeah. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Rams over Seattle a second time. I'm just going gut here.
Okay.
I guess what I just feel is you give the Rams another shot. Okay. The way they lost last time, veteran football team, McVay, Stafford, right? Again, a week off for the Seattle Seahawks, which I don't know is always a good thing. The Rams are one of the few teams in football. They're going to be like, what? We don't give a shit if we got to go play in Seattle.
No, they're not.
They're not going to be intimidated by it. They've been there. They've done that. They know they can have success there. So that's where I'm going to play the Rams upsetting the Seahawks on the road.
I did the same thing.
You did.
And then we have the Eagles at the Bears. I think we have the same NFC championship.
Holy crap.
I had the Rams at Philadelphia.
You have, so do I. Yeah. So we're the same way.
Chicago, would never rule them out.
No,
and the Eagles have to travel. Chicago, we talk about it, turnover-based defense. You get a couple turnovers against Jalen Hurts, you might win the game.
We saw the Bears beat them already, right? So we've seen that. We saw them beat them in Philadelphia. Yes, it's one there where I go, yeah, but again, I feel like the Eagles are clearly one of the most talented teams in football. Like you said on Monday, they are. The roster is what it is. And I also feel like there might be a part of them like we've seen with the Chiefs through a few years where it's just like,
you find
so what? It's week 12.
Yeah.
Like we're not really, our blood's not boiling over this matchup. We've been in so many bigger games, but this is the time of the year where now the blood boils and they get up and get ready to go again here. I'll take I'm going to take the Eagles to beat the Bears in Chicago to then host the NFC Championship game after Nick Sirianni's taking a lot of crap this week.
It's kind of unreal.
Right? And then he's going to get an NFC Championship game at home against the Rams, where I am going to take the Rams to pull off the upset and finally beat the Eagles there, which they had them on the ropes in divisional last year. They should have beat them this year, early on in the year. I think they get it done and end up going to Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco.
A little bit of that third time's the charm.
Yeah.
I'm with you as well.
Okay.
But so you had a Texans-Rams Super Bowl.
Right.
I had a Jacksonville Rams Super Bowl.
Yeah, either one would be good.
It'd be awesome.
Yes.
It'd be awesome. And
yours will probably be more of a shootout. I think it can be more scoring.
Yes.
Mine, I think, could end up being Texans-Rams could end up being
like 16 to
not
10.
Everybody will love it.
Yeah,
maybe 20-17, maybe something like that kind of game, right?
So after
who are you
all,
gonna take there, buddy?
I'm taking Matthew Stafford to get it
You
done.
are? Okay.
I'm taking Matthews. I think what we've seen with the Rams recently, which hasn't been their peak of powers.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are forgetting what they're like when they're right physically. And I think Sean McVay knows exactly that.
Yep.
And they look different when Devontae Adams is healthy, the offensive line is healthy, the back end of the defense is healthy. I think the Rams have the experience and the talent to win the Super Bowl.
When I said this the other day, when they play their best, the Rams and the Seahawks have been the best teams. They're the teams that have caught my eyes, right?
In a year of NFL middle of the everyone's in this huge cluster.
When they're on fire and playing their best, though, I went, "Ooh, the Rams are the best team in the sport." Right? That's the way I felt. In the AFC, it's not much different. I feel like the Jaguars, like what you've talked about, over the last 7 or 8 weeks, I go, they got no holes. They're the most consistent. They're explosive. They can do it all. Houston doesn't totally fit that mold on both sides of the ball, only one side of the ball, but yet they're going into the playoffs with, a 10-game win streak, right? Is that right? Or 9 or 10? I mean, something like that. So I'm going to have the Texans pulling off the upset over the Rams.
Wow.
I am. DeMeco Ryans goes back to San Francisco and hoists a trophy. I'm going to go with it like this, in that when defenses like this get to the Super Bowl, they have 2 weeks. They get to be extra fresh. They get to really study the other offense. And more times than not, when we see these special defenses get to the Super Bowl, right? And we'll see if they can get there because your team might be there instead. But like the Broncos or the Seahawks of 2013, right? Like the 2007 Giants that had a special front four. When you just hear all week, like Will Anderson and Dion, if you don't get to Stafford, we can't win the game. If you 2 weeks for 2 weeks, they got to hear, if you don't get to Stafford, we can't win the game. And they're going to be as fresh as can be in the biggest game of their lives, ready to go freaking crazy.
Every rep is
That's
just nuts.
where I always feel like the great defensive teams have a little more of an advantage in the Super Bowl, right? Almost like the Philadelphia Eagles last year. If the front four can't get there to Mahomes, we can't win. If we have to start blitzing and doing that, the Chiefs are going to beat us. So that front four was like, don't blitz, Vic. We're going to kick their ass. And they never blitzed the whole freaking game and kicked their ass, right? So that's the way I feel a little bit here. So I got Texans, you got Rams. I like it. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.